the story, we meet a hitman, a person whose job is to kill someone. This man's name is Sakamoto. Many individuals confront Sakamoto, whom he begins to kill one by one. This work does not bother him at all. He brutally kills all these people. We learn that there was once a legendary hitman. His name was Sakamoto Taro, and every gangster feared him, and every hitman aspired to be like him. But one day, he fell in love with a woman, and he quit his hitman job. He married her. They had a daughter. He has become very overweight. Now he works at his small shop. One day, a boy comes to his store looking for Sakamoto. Here, Sakamoto notices a child aiming at him. The same child comes to his shop repeatedly. Suddenly, the ink bottle falls from this child's grasp, which stains a man's white pants. Seeing this, the man becomes angry. He picks up the child. He was about to punch the child, but Sakamoto grabs his hand. He places his pencil at the man's neck and pretends to kill him. He doesn't actually kill him. He only thinks about doing it, and the man leaves the shop. This was also witnessed by the boy who came here looking for Sakamoto. He knows that Sakamoto was considering killing that man with a pencil. In fact, this boy is also a hitman, and his name is Shin. He is also known as Psychic, as he can read people's minds. Sakamoto thinks about slapping him. Seeing this, she becomes frightened, and says, "I am Shin, and I used to work under you." The two now go outside, sit down, and Shin asks if he is really working at a small shop. Shin wanted Sakamoto to return to his old job. Sakamoto thinks to himself that his hitman days are over. Shin remarks that he used to be a legendary hitman. Every gangster was afraid of you. After all, how can Sakamoto just leave all that behind? Sakamoto does not answer his question and starts eating his noodles. Shin comments that he has become so fat that it is hard to recognize him. Saying this, he starts smoking a cigarette, but Sakamoto quickly snips his cigarette because there was no smoking allowed here. Seeing Sakamoto's speed, Shin realizes that despite being overweight, he is still dangerous, and if he wanted, he could also kill Shin. Then a delivery man brings some stuff for Sakamoto, and he also needed Sakamoto's help. Shin overhears this and thinks maybe Sakamoto still does hitman work, and pretends to be a normal man. But that was not the case. Sakamoto needed help cutting his hair. Sakamoto used to help the townspeople with small jobs, and everyone from children to the elderly liked him. Seeing such a notorious hitman working so diligently, Shin becomes angry, and says that in his eyes, Sakamoto's respect has diminished. After this, Shin goes and sits in his car, and thinks that he has seen Sakamoto after 5 years. But he is still so impressive. Even with a fat body, his skill has not diminished. He wishes he could work with him again. Shin receives a call from his boss who asks if he convinced Sakamoto to come back to work. Shin says no, upon which his boss says then kill him. If someone leaves our gang, we must clean it up. This is the rule of our world, and if Shin can't do it, someone else will be sent. Shin was actually sent to kill Sakamoto, but he is a big fan of his, and he doesn't want to do this. But after much thought, Shin realizes that he has no other option. If he doesn't kill Sakamoto, someone else will. So if Sakamoto is to be killed, it should be by his hand. The next morning, Shin returns to Sakamoto's shop, where his wife asks, "You came yesterday too, right?" But Shin doesn't respond, and he enters the store with a silencer on his gun. Shin tells Sakamoto that he is leaving town today, so he wants to say goodbye to Sakamoto before he leaves. After that, he fires a bullet at Sakamoto, but Sakamoto spits out the candy from his mouth, which hits the bullet and changes its direction. He then throws an ice cream at Shin and vanishes before him, and Shin is unable to read his mind. Now Sakamoto appears behind him and strikes him hard on the face. Because of this, Shin falls away and admits he came to fight Sakamoto. After that, Shin loses consciousness. When Shin regains consciousness, he is in Sakamoto's house, located above his shop, and Shin doesn't understand why Sakamoto brought him to his house. Is there poison in this food? But he feels no effects of poison. When Shin eats the food, it tastes very good. Perhaps it's the first home-cooked meal he's had in many days. And Sakamoto also had a similar reaction for the first time. Shin feels so good after eating this food that he no longer feels like working. And now he understands why Sakamoto left that life for these simple pleasures. He thanks Sakamoto for the food and leaves. Sakamoto shows him a sign that reads, "Thank you. Then definitely come again." Shin returns to his gang, where his boss scolds him, asking why he didn't kill Sakamoto. Shin tells his boss to let Sakamoto live. He's very happy with his family. Everyone laughs when they hear this. His boss says that Sakamoto has broken the rules of our world and shown his responsibilities, so we'll have to kill him. Shin offers to die in place of Sakamoto to spare his life. The boss says, "Okay, if you die, we will leave Sakamoto alone." And then the boss thinks to himself how foolish Shin is, wondering why he would listen to him. Shin hears this thought and points his gun at him. A fight ensues. Meanwhile, Sakamoto listens to all this from his shop. He presses a button revealing many hidden guns in his shop. He grabs a taser gun. Shin survives because he can read the minds of those around him, making it easy to hide. One man shoots at him, but Shin still survives. The boss tells everyone that if they go near him, he'll read their minds, so they should stay away and surround him. Shin's bullets are now depleted, and 3 people surround him. They are about to kill Shin, but Sakamoto appears from behind and uses a taser on him. Seeing Sakamoto there, both Shin and his boss are shocked. Those people had orders to kill Sakamoto, but Sakamoto had brought only 2 tasers with him. He starts incapacitating people with them. He was also catching the bullets thrown from these tasers, and he begins killing everyone with the speed of lightning. He was overweight but still very powerful. The boss orders his men to shoot at Sakamoto together, but Sakamoto evades them all and disables their guns. He also kills his boss along with the goons. Seeing all this, Shin realizes that Sakamoto is still a legendary hitman. He asks how Sakamoto knew he was here. Sakamoto reveals that when Shin was unconscious, he had placed a tracker in his gun. Shin now says he will leave town today as promised, but Sakamoto offers him a job at his shop and says he'll pay 400 rupees per